Yo, it's been a while. It's been COVID for a while too. And as you can probably see, I've got about a COVID 35 pounds on top of that. Let me introduce Kim.
Nice to meet you.
Kim has been inducted into what do we call it? The Unroyal Order?
The Unroyal Order.
Of Ampness.
Yeah.
Kim is interested in learning about, and has been learning about, working on vintage amplifiers, how they all work, what to do. We actually, let's do a quick swear. Let's pretend we did the swear like we did earlier.
Okay.
You swear to work on amps and be crazy like the rest of us.
I do.
And what was the most important?
Hand in pocket.
There you go.
So you don't complete a circuit.
Yeah, on the RCA receiving tube manual, of course. All right, back to the business. What we have, what Kim and I are going to be working on, is this amazing Ampeg Gemini II. I've already taken a peek inside, and I know it's from about 66, middle 66, pots of data late 65. We'll get into that more later.
Okay.
Gemini 2, it's got the 15-inch speaker. It's an amazing shape. Yeah, okay. Let's see, the white elephant is, you see this nasty handle, besides that nasty handle, and a cracked tube shield. Kim and I have gone over this. Let me point out a couple things, first of all, that you'll probably see, or what's important. I've never seen this blue diamond Colex in such good condition. Kim, I know you haven't seen a lot of these.
Nope.
But we talked about this. Look at these corners. And maybe we'll get some close-ups on the phone, or I'll pop up some pictures. My new Hot Rod Deluxe, the Tolux isn't as good as this. Yeah, there's a couple of nicks, couple of things here and there, maybe a couple of points. What do you got over there, Kim? Something come up.
A little lifting on the corner.
But imagine that, a little lifting. This amp is older than your parents, I think.
No, it's 66.
Yeah.
No, it's older than my parents.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
no, it's younger than my parents.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And inside corners are another telltale thing. They tend to lift and come up. Yeah, what do we see here? We got?
Yeah, a little breaking of the mesh.
Yeah.
Just in this corner. The rest, your side looks really good.
And it's clean too, right? I don't.
Yeah, maybe like a dark stain right here. Maybe a water stain.
Yeah, it could be. This was, by the way, just to give you further history, what I was told by the guy I got this from is he's had it in a closet covered for the last 20 years. Not the original owner. The original owner, he bought it from the original owner. And he said that guy probably never gigged with it. That bears true. I know I've got amps that are only a couple years old that I gigged with that are in much worse shape than this.
Where did you acquire this?
Good question. A little upstate, like lower upstate New York. I don't know if it was technically Westchester County or Sullivan, up towards, if you're familiar with it, up here in the northern Jersey, is the Storm King sculpture thing. Highly recommend it. You got to go there. It's kind of cool.
I will.
Look it up. But to get back to it, not to belabor too much, but things like, let's tilt it back just a little bit. Just a little bit. Look at these corners. On these amps, I don't even know how many I actually still have the corners that I've worked on, the 50 I've worked on. You can see yourself in that, can't you, Kim? Yeah, the chrome is in great shape, the corners are in great shape. The panel is in very good shape. It's funny, the panel seems to have taken a little bit more. I don't really see a whole lot of evidence that this was cleaned a lot, but it is very clean. But what do you see? It's some on your side, I think.
A little rust, maybe some kind of residue.
Yeah, but most of the, over there, even on your side, most of the text and everything is.
Most of the paint is on. You can still see what it is.
Yeah, I think I may have some videos on some of the other Ampegs I've worked on where it's almost all gone.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of put on like what do you call those little stickers and stuff, little P-touch stuff to figure out what you're doing. Let's show the back?
Sure.
You go that way, I go this way. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. So like I said, I've cheated a little bit, but what we talked about in front applies to the back. I mean, a couple of points. I don't know if it's still in the camera. Let's move it over a little bit there. I'm not sure if it's still in the camera. Why don't you take a look, see if we're still on camera real quick. Can you see it all mostly?
Yep.
All right. So same thing applies that we talked about before. The Tolex is in amazing shape. One thing here, it looks like, where are the screws? No, I cheated. I took most of them out because I want to be able to take off the back. This is the first Ampeg I've ever worked on that every single one of those clutch type of screws, the original clutch type screws, every single position are still in the amp, including this shot handle. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, I am just stunned by that. Let's take a quick look at the bottom. You ready? Let's tilt it over. So I don't know if it's on camera. Should be. We can tilt it a hold. We just keep. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I think we should.
Just like that. Nah.
Okay.
She's more worried about the stamp than I am. Look at this. This is that thing. I think that came with stands or something, like a screw. I don't think I've ever seen one. Yeah, I've seen amps with these still in place, but the screws are replaced because these are the original feet. I hate these feet, these metal feet. They like kind of scratch the floor, but they're original. It's amazing. Let's tilt it. Let's put it back up. All right. And let's pause while I take the back off. All right, we're back. We're ready to take off the back. Those of you who are familiar with Ampegs, what we're going to see is on the back panel of all the Ampegs of this vintage, they had the schematic taped on the back. Most of them is torn, pieces missing, stained, who knows
What else?
right on them. So I'm kind of tipping a hand here. One of the reasons why I think this amp is amazing is kind of proof of how untouched it is. Again, we'll talk about on these back panels too. You'll see when we flip it open. Maybe I should just do it instead of stop battling about it. So let's take it out. All right, ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Kim, you get to look at it first.
Pretty amazing.
So we have a nearly intact. There's a little couple points here, maybe,
A little discolored.
a little discolored, which is amazing in itself, and kind of also helps date the amp a little bit, because this schematic, if you look in the right-hand corner, says 566. So we know this amp can't be any older than May of 1966. I've got reason to believe that is pretty close to that.
Gotcha.
There's other things, but go ahead. It looks like you got a question.
Oh no, it's very readable. Like none of the the ink is still all there and.
Yep. Here, let's see if we can. I don't know if this will work. Da, da, da. All right. And that's a good point, because if you look online right now for this specific schematic, it isn't as good. The ones that you find are not as good as this. So I'm going to try to take some pictures and try to recreate this and post it online.
I have a scanning app that'll probably.
See? It's the new breed of amp technicians. A scanning app, what's that? The thing I really want to point out is on this is, as we were talking about with lifts and Tolex, I have never seen one of these amps with a back panel that there is no Tolex lift. These corners here are notorious. Are just I can't think of one that I've never seen where these are just like flopping, if they're there or cut or torn. It is amazing. Next, so I'm going to gingerly put this somewhere. The other amazing thing about the back of this, now I don't know if he cleaned or not. I did a little dusting, and I've taken the tubes out. All right, let's start from the top and go to the bottom. Can you see yourself in that, Kim?
I can.
Mm-hmm. As amazing how good condition the back of this is. And as at some point, hopefully soon, we're going to take this chassis out. We'll take a look. But these transformers are so clean. It's amazing. Usually they're covered with dust and God knows what. The other thing that I've never seen on one of these amps, I've seen evidence of it, is this gasket that is behind the back panel. This is almost never there, or there's pieces. This is fully intact. As a matter of fact, I learned something on this amp that I never knew before. Although I disconnected the reverb connectors, they go through from the amp through a hole. And I always thought that there was never any gasket there. But what I learned is there was, and they cut it so you can move it in and out. I'm afraid I'm going to lose that, but I think that's amazing. I've never seen that. I don't know if it was there for the power cord, but there it was. This, as far as I can tell, is 100% original, inside and out. Maybe not the speaker. There's a couple of reasons why. First of all, this is a CTS speaker.
How do you know?
Oh, good question. It's hard to see. It may not pick up, but there is a code on every speaker that shows the manufacturer code. 137 is CTS. As a matter of fact, you'll see that on pots later on. Although I think there might be Stackpole pots in here. We'll go back to that. And it's tough to tell. There should be a date code here. I see 62. What do you see, Ken?
620. 9.
Yeah, so I don't know. That throws me off because that would mean it's 1962. It could certainly you could have an original 1962 speaker in here. It could have been in stock. And the other thing is, I do know that Ampeg did use CTS speakers and Jensen speakers. It could have been a Jensen in here, but typically there would be an Ampeg sticker on the back of the speaker. I don't know, Kim, do you see any evidence that there was a round sticker about that size? Or maybe a little bigger that was once on here?
I don't see any like sticky residue or anything.
Yeah, or any like shading or something that would see that there once was maybe there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how the speaker sounds. It's very happy with the speaker. Would I have been happy with the original Jensen? Maybe. The other thing also that tells me that maybe this is a replacement speaker is I don't recall that Ampeg set up their speaker connectors with these, what do they call these, Molex type of connectors that they were soldered on, if I remember. Although, who knows, of all the ones I've seen, certainly they've been doctored a lot. So this tells me that maybe this was replaced, and the person who replaced it wisely put Molex connectors to make it easy to come on and off. So that's another thing. So other than that, though, I think this amp is all original. When we open it up and take a look inside and see the components, you'll see they're all original too. Original 2-prong cord, which, as Kim knows,
We have to change to 3-prong.
Original cap can, and when we look inside, filter caps, getting old.
Might have to recap.
We'll see. The plan for the amp is that before we do anything, we're going to replace this cord before we plug it in and test anything. Then we're going to go through the steps to safely start it up as it is, test that there's no failed components as best we can with a current limiter light bulb and a variac. Then, if all is going well there, maybe put some tubes in, see if it makes a sound. And depending on if we get that far, if the sound is good or bad, probably no matter what, change those caps because it will make the amp perform better. What we'll also see inside this amp is that it's a fixed bias with a variable adjustment on it, which is awesome. A lot of these early amps didn't have that kind of thing. So we'll have to check the bias, make sure it's biased so that the amp is running well. So a lot from now to the point at which we can say we're going to done with this amp. Oh, I'm going to get we'll get a handle for it, that kind of thing. But we'll see what happens. We're going to try to take a shot at opening this up and put it in this video. That may be in a separate video. Yeah, I think this was the original thing, and
So even this was a replacement.
yeah, I don't even know what. I think they took inside of the handles on these old Ampegs was like a metal bar. I think they took that, and there's parts still stuck. That went inside. Anyway, it's a mess. It's going.
Like, this handle is like the worst, like part of it, like considering.
By far, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and if that's the worst thing on the amp,
It's probably a really good amp.
right? I mean, the handles usually don't have a lot to do with the sound of an amp.
Not that I'm aware.
Right. So, and usually they're cosmetic and they're expected to go. So when you replace something like that, it's not like, oh, you replace the handle. This amp is no good. It's a handle. Come on, give me a break. So, so that's awesome. Yep. All right. So I'm going to shut down the video at this part. Okay. And depending on how easily we can get this out, maybe we'll take a peek at that, or that may be in the next video when we work on it further. All right. See you all later. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
All right, Kim, we got the amp out.
Yep.
All right, let's see what we found. Well, Kim and I were looking at this a little bit and we talked about some of the things. One of the things for you Ampeg lovers and knowers, one thing Ampeg did on their boards, both on the soldering board and also on the chassis itself, they put goop and blue stuff. Basically, I think it was partially you'll see the goop here, partially to hold wires down and keep them in place from vibration. But also it kind of gives you an indication if someone has been in the amp and done anything, including goop across things such as where the capacitors are mounted, so you would know if this was ever pulled or not. And then we see here, what do you see? The blue on top of the solder joints. That I think is kind of like a, hey, don't touch me, or if you touch me, I'm gonna rat you out. And just going over quickly in the amp, Kim and I see no evidence that this amp was ever touched inside. And there's the death cap. So a couple things. Kim, can you please read off the numbers on that pot if you can get your head in there?
It's 1376612.
137, that ring a bell?
The speaker.
Yes, CTS. So that is a CTS pot from, what were the other numbers?
6612. So the 12th week of 1966.
Right, so more evidence that this is an amp from 1966. We can go and look at some more pots. I don't know if you can see that one there, Kim. I don't know how the lighting.
1376549.
6549. Okay, 49th week, late 65.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it looks good. It's clean, isn't it? Clean. It's nice. You know what? We're going to turn it over. But just a couple things that we see right away. Obviously, we're going to be changing that the 2-prong, 3-prong. We're going to get rid of that death cap. There's some things that you and I, Kim, are going to talk about how this amp is set up and how the standby switch is set up and whether or not we want to keep that or do something different or defeat it or what. Now that you were part of the not so royal
Order of ampness.
order of ampness, you will learn that you will get into debates on whether or not standbys are necessary or not. And if they are, how should they be implemented? And this amp falls into one of those categories for debate. Well, they all do. Here's the other thing. We haven't talked about this, Kim, but this thing here,
Yep.
this is part of the tremolo circuit in an Ampeg. This is a secret device that they don't make anymore. And it's unlike the common ones. You can get ones that are similar in function to Fender amps, but it's a different component, and they don't make them anymore. There's a guy named Andy Fuchs, very famous.
Heard of him?
I've actually gone to Andy. He knows the secret, and he will not divulge it to me. So on these Ampegs, when these have gone, you got to call up Andy and say, Andy, I need another one of those tremolo circuits. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, can you tell me what he's, nah. And he gives me a part. He makes them from scratch. He actually takes a little cup and he puts components in there and he puts goop in there, and then you connect the wires and it works. One day he'll divulge his secret to me. We'll see. So anyway, so there it is. I'm going to shut this up. I'm going to take another quick video of the other side.
Okay.
See what that looks like. Kim,
Yes.
I can see you.
I can see you too.
Yeah, that's bad. All right. Yeah, I mean, here we go again. This is pretty amazing. I mean, there's some dirt, and I think some of this can be cleaned.
Yeah.
This chrome is in incredible shape. It looks to me, and we witnessed it on the other side. One thing you look for, Kim, is were any tube sockets replaced? I don't see any evidence of that. Oh, this is scary that you can see my face while I do this. You don't want that. These transformers, wow. I don't have any reason to believe that the guy who I got this from, who had it for 20 years in a closet, did anything. I don't see evidence of being clean, do you?
No.
It just looks clean. I think, wow. Let's do something here. Let's just see, I see some of that. That's just superficial dust. That's pretty amazing. All right, I'm pretty pleased with this, Kim. Are you?
Yes. Very.
All right. All right, so next step, we got this out. We got to come up with a plan. And in our next video, we'll start working on this amp.
Definitely.
All right, sounds good.